Jujutsu Kaisen has everyone going crazy, overdosing on copium because they think a sequel is happening. We are in the epilogue where we have a post-game interview after their victory against Sukuna. As we all know, there are too many open plot threads that can't be answered within the 2 remaining chapters. Because isn't the culling game technically still going on?
I'm confused right now, G.
Chapter 220 revealed that the Kogane will always choose to make the game longer. Rule number 14 states it will end upon the deaths of all the players except for Geto and Megami Fushiguro. Tengen even asks Kenjaku why he doesn't get rid of the purification barrier himself to end the game. But he reveals that means the merger we have been anticipating all this time and Gege giving us blue balls, it would also disappear if he does that. But now, Yuji, Yuta and Megami are still alive, so the culling game is still on, right? Especially since chapter 248 revealed that Megami still holds the activation button for the merger as Kenjaku gave his will in Megami's name rather than Sukuna. However, with chapter 269 confirming Gojo's unlimited void has made his mind go trippy, we theorize that if Gege wanted to, he can still make a sequel with it being activated. For instance, in chapter 220, we learned that the only way to turn off the culling game is to end the 4 barriers that Tengen created. However, this would undo 1000 years of progress in the war against curses, which would mean thousands and thousands of people would die. Also, we can't forget, Kenjaku told the whole world about curse energy like USA and China. On top of that, doesn't there need to be a new Tengen that will uphold a barrier in Japan? Otherwise, sorcerers will pop up across the globe. That means an endless amount of curses will appear across the planet that Gojo's generation would have to deal with in its sequel after they have reformed Jujutsu Society for the better like they are doing in chapter 269. The only realistic way to fix all of this is to either make an ass pull within 2 chapters that the gang figured out a way to get rid of curse energy in the entire world, just like Yuki planned. Or it's a perfect setup for part 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen with all of them getting older in a time skip to face off against what Gege has set up. In short, a Jujutsu Kaisen Shippuden. But, don't shoot the messenger. It's just a theory. A the theory. Well, let's begin with the good news. Chapter 269 reveals Yuta is alive. Maki's pissed because she's in love with Yuta and she doesn't like the idea that he risks so much without telling anyone. But her cousin Megami feels hazy as Sukuna used his soul to bear the burden of a limited void. Non-sorcerers had to go to therapy after experiencing it for 0.2 seconds, but my man tanked it multiple times, so Megami should be grateful he isn't retarded. However, Megami apologizes to everyone and they don't blame him for anything. And just when things were looking good, Kusakabe ruins the moment and blames Gojo even after his death, stating things would never come to this if he had just let Itadori die from the death penalty. Kusakabe even adds that he was on board with Yuji's death sentence and without Principal Yaga, he wouldn't even be here. But hindsight is 2020 and everything happens for a reason where you can only connect the dots looking backwards. So all of this was meant to happen since each truth and choice people made was woven together to create what we have right now. Yuji was meant to eat the finger, Megami was meant to choose to save him, and Gojo hiding a Sukuna finger attained victory. Basically, what happened has happened. So it's time for the first years to not feel guilty and just continue to act their age, since they were missing out on their entire childhood, which Gojo hoped they could all do as one of his dreams. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. How the fuck did Yuta get his body back? The last time we see him was in Gojo's body fighting alongside Todo and Yuji against Sukuna, but he randomly dropped since Kenjaku's curse technique ran out. right? Well, Yuta explains that the reason Rika didn't get attached to Gojo's body after the exchange is because she stayed behind on purpose with his original Yuta body just to repair and maintain it, while Shoko and her spammed reverse curse technique on it. However, as soon as Kenjaku's curse technique ran out, he thought that he died. But Rika reconnected with his original body and put it in a semi-death state. Something similar to what happened to Megami when he summoned Mahoraga for the first time in the Shibuya incident and Sukuna healed him using reverse curse technique. Similarly, Rika kept Yuta alive till his brain was switched back and his body was healed completely. This would have been for 3 to 5 minutes max, as that was the time limit Yuta had in Gojo's body. So wait a second. So you're telling me Yuta basically didn't learn the trick Kenjaku did to stay alive after curse technique burnout like he did against Yuki? As Kusakabe mentions, imitating 1,000 years of experience is absurd, and Kenjaku was the second best barrier user in the world behind Tengen, where each technique was divided intentionally. So yeah, Rika was just a deus ex machina and is completely broken.
Don't ask questions, just consume product and then get excited for next products.
However, Maki is not done with Yuta. Gege uses her character to address all the community concerns that not only we mentioned in the videos, but you did in the comments. So make sure to hit the notification bell, like the video, and thank you to our Patreons for sharing their curse energy with us. In this post-game interview, Maki questions their strategy, whether it was the right call to let Yuta sneak up on Kenjaku rather than herself, since he took high countermeasures against him. However, it is then revealed that Todo was involved in the sneak attack, meaning Yuta used Boogie Woogie to teleport behind him to one-shot. But since Maki has no curse energy, Todo wouldn't be able to censor and his curse technique wouldn't be able to target her, which would have led to her downfall against Kenjaku, as we saw ourselves with our very own eyes that he did react in time and use anti-gravity. Now, what about Higuruma's executioner blade? It would be better in Maki's hands like we all said, and on top of that, they could have used the voice recorder that held Unamaki's curse technique to just one-shot Sukuna, right? Well, this was debunked due to curse speech being easily countered by just plugging curse energy into your ears to block the words, and it can't be unleashed all at once since the technique is active till the recording is played. Therefore, making 2 recorders with the same technique, it just simply wasn't possible. On top of that, Sukuna was too overpowered at that point of time, meaning Unamaki would have exploded and died just due to the kickback. But regarding Higuruma, he's back. Okay, this was controversial, especially since Sukuna literally said in chapter 248 that he killed the dude and that was the reason the Komatoke was gone, and healing someone else with reverse curse technique is 50% less effective, where Sukuna believed that Shoko didn't have that kind of power to pull it off. But he was wrong. It's kinda strange how this decision was made because Higuruma's character arc finished completely and it was well done. It also linked to the whole idea of Sukuna self-reflecting on why he was irritated that he killed him in the first place. Like, bruh, now I get it. I'm a Gojo fan. This is why Gojo fans are pissed because yeah, he was cut in half, but these dudes were also cut into pieces. If Gojo did not come back even after they healed his body completely, then how is Higuruma back after learning RCT only recently? Even Yuta came back with no consequences. I guess in the end, Gege does what Gege does.
Alright, so y'all just seen that corny ass shit.
However, Kusakabe points out that he's been a sorcerer for barely 2 months and still came out alive. Given that he has Sukuna's level of technique control and Gojo's potential, this decision might just be because there will be a part 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen being set up where his character is required. Now, that's just copium, but stick around to the end to see what I mean, because Maki ain't done raging at the team. She's upset that her Pookie took too many risks and didn't tell everyone about the foreigners. However, we have to cut her some slack. This is just how much she cares about Yuta, and that's why Unamaki and Panda start laughing. This ship is definitely seeming to sail. But to be honest, we all know Yuta can't be blamed, since Miguel had no reason to risk death against Sukuna, and Gojo did say, "Are you strong because you're black?"
I beg your pardon?
But in the end, Yuji defends Yuta as he created the cursed 2 gauntlets he had on, and thanks to him taking over Gojo's body within the 3-minute clash with Sukuna that saved his life, it gave Yuji the time to think about his domain expansion and study about it, which resulted in him pulling off Benevolent Shrine to ultimately win. So everything went according to plan, and I must say, I don't know what they're complaining about because it was a landslide victory on their side. The only people they truly lost was Gojo and Choso. Kashimo doesn't even count since he was a ghost of the past and already dead. I don't know, man, like, think about it. A bunch of 17-year-olds killed the strongest of all time, but in the Heian era, you're telling me the golden age of sorcery had Sukuna bodying 20 special grades at once. Those guys, I'm telling you, there must have been a bunch of bums and farmers. And I'm gonna back up this statement with the fact that Sukuna told Jogo that he should stand proud and he's strong. But with how far the power scaling has come now, he's left in the dust and is an absolute joke, man. Yuji can kill all the disaster curses at the same time on his own, I'm just saying. Now, obviously not every sorcerer is Yuji's level of power, because Miwa thinks her opinion matters and she wanted to join the fight. And I'm like, don't you remember you made that binding vow to never swing a blade again against Kenjaku, and the madman stopped it with a finger? Even that stupid ass Momo witch chimed in thinking she would do something. Let's just remember this. However, after everyone self-reflects with Ui claiming he's the MVP, Gojo fans are pissed because none of them even mentioned him once or showed gratitude for the damage he did to Sukuna to let them win in the first place. No tears, no emotions, no actual character interactions that are meaningful, just aura. You got any good writing? No, we got aura. That meme is f***ing big because I can't stop laughing. Oh my god, that meme's too funny.
One eternity later.
Oh my god. That meme's so true for this chapter. But this is where we start to see a possible Jujutsu Kaisen sequel happening. We all know Mei was broadcasting the culling game to the world, raking in a profit because she's a bitch that only cares about money, right? So how will they react to it? My guess is Gege ain't going to explain, but what he is going for is the gang forming a new sorcery society. They are getting rid of all the trash that corrupted the system before. Remember, Mei said in chapter 258 she has already sorted out the requirements needed to ensure everyone learns Shadow Style Simple Domain against Sukuna. The technique was sacred behind a binding vow that was only shared amongst people of their choosing to stop curse users from learning it. But it also bound sorcerers to them for life, to be their puppets. This was going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, monopolizing the industry by forcing sorcerers to become their disciples. But with the Kamo clan gone due to Kenjaku, the Zenin clan killed by Maki, with Megami as the leader, and the Gojo clan now having no power due to Satoru's death, the new generation of sorcerers will create a new system with Gakuganji to reform everything just like Gojo planned. As he said this himself in chapter 261, Mei described the clan as a curse, having too much power over them and siphoning the life force out of them. As a result, Mei and Kusakabe are making it so that Simple Domain will be a technique that all sorcerers can learn without any restriction, making it freely available in the future since he's the new head. Tengen told Mei about this clan's plan. They were gathering many disciples so they can become one of the major 3 houses to overthrow the sorcerer world for themselves. But she spoils their plan, telling them that they are stupid bitches that are selfish, and many sorcerers had died because of them, as they had no counter to domain expansion, as they weren't allowed to learn a counter. Now, a good example of this was someone like Nanami. He had no anti-domain technique against idol transfiguration or even Dogon's domain due to how restrictive these selfish pricks made it. So, with all of them dead, a brighter future is created. Mei's alluding to the disbandment of all the clans together with the poison washed away. So is Gege planning a sequel, or is this gonna be a disastrous train wreck? Let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, make sure to enjoy more peak fiction. You know, Potential Man Megami? Why not find out what if he tamed Mahoraga? How strong would he have become?